An underage girl enters a man's home, shoots him twice in the head, lights his body and house on fire, and drives away in his luxury car. She's now facing life in prison, but a lot of people think she shouldn't have been convicted. They think that, as crazy as it sounds, she was justified. During my years of wrongful imprisonment, I lived alongside people guilty of fraud, robbery, and murder. And every one of them felt like they had a good reason. They saw their actions as reactions. It makes me wonder, how do criminals rationalize their crimes? And how does our justice system justify its response? Is it ever appropriate to treat the guilty like the innocent? This is The Truth About True Crime. Kenosha, Wisconsin, 2018. Teenager Chrystul Kizer, the oldest of 4 from an impoverished family, was a promising and artistic kid, a budding violinist. But she began skipping school. She spent 55 days in jail when she was caught driving a car stolen by her younger brother. At 16, Kizer started selling herself for sex on Backpage.com. There, she met 33-year-old Randy Villar and began a relationship with him. According to Kizer, he was her sugar daddy. He gave her spending money and let her drive his luxury car. But then, on June 4th, 2018, Kizer decided to do something drastic, and she texted her friends about it. After her arrest, Kizer claimed that Villar had sexually assaulted her and that she shot him in self-defense. But the prosecutor found her story to be unbelievable, in part because of how she behaved immediately before and after the killing. She posted a picture to social media of herself in Villar's house with the caption, "My mugshot."
She has a gun in her hand, she's waving that gun in her hand, and she is discussing how if somebody makes her mad, she'll shoot them like she shot someone previously. The sort of celebration of parts of this criminal offense that take place in social media, I think shocked the conscience.
Open and shut, right? You may reconsider your gut reaction when you learn Kizer's background. Kizer grew up in suburbia, but when her mom brought an abusive boyfriend into the mix, Kizer became a victim of abuse as well. To escape, the family uprooted and moved to Milwaukee, but they couldn't afford food and school supplies. That poverty is what led Kizer to Backpage.com. It's what led her to Randy Villar, who showered her with gifts and groomed her to be pimped out. This isn't speculation. 6 months before Kizer shot him, the police arrested Villar after another girl reported that he threatened to kill her. She also gave the police Chrystul Kizer's name. The police found dozens of videos of Villar having sex with girls as young as 12, but he was charged and released the same day without bail. The cops waited months before sending the case to the DA's office, months during which Kizer and dozens of other girls were violated, and during which Villar deposited over $500,000 police suspect was from human trafficking. 12 days before the shooting, Villar was taken into custody again, and again released.
She should not be prosecuted, so we call on District Attorney Gravely to drop the charges.
He had evidence. The fact that it took for her to do something because she got tired of it. And he trying to sweep the whole problem under the rug, but it's so much more bigger than just her.
Supporters argue that Kizer committed the murder as a direct result of being trafficked, and so her crime falls under the affirmative defense law, which protects victims of trafficking from being prosecuted. But Kizer isn't being prosecuted for prostitution, which is what the law was designed for. She's being prosecuted for murder.
I wish the justice system was different and that people who try to protect themselves didn't have to deal with this.
So let's say the version of events presented by Kizer's attorneys, that Villar sexually assaulted Kizer and she shot him in self-defense, doesn't add up. Let's say she did premeditate the murder. Could a premeditated murder be committed in self-defense? How people feel about this seems to depend on how much they blame Kizer for her own situation. How Kizer is perceived may also be related to race. Research shows that underage women of color are routinely perceived as older and more willing participants in the sale of sex than their white counterparts. As for the law, Kizer's case hinges on how much the jury is willing to extend the idea of imminent threat.
She went there under a situation of psychological duress and manipulation, and then to try to get out of this situation, had to defend herself, and Villar ended up dead.
If somebody commits crimes against you, even horrible crimes, that you aren't allowed to go and kill them in response.
So, which is it? Self-defense or vigilantism? In December, the judge disallowed Kizer from claiming the affirmative defense, saying that it would lead to an absurd result, like legalizing murder. Kizer's attorneys are currently appealing that ruling, and her trial date has been pushed back. In the meantime, Kizer is sitting in prison. Kizer is now 19, but she was only 17 when she killed Villar. Those who would see her rot in a cell frame her as an adult, fully mature and responsible for her actions. But there's a lot about her that still seems childlike. In an interview with the Washington Post, Kizer described a board game that she created in her cell. She molded game pieces out of toothpaste and drew a colorful road for them to travel along. Players might be sent to the hole, or Alcoholics Anonymous. At the end of the road, freedom. The name of her game? Jail Land. Without affirmative defense, that road lays ahead of Kizer with no end in sight. For the rest of us watching this tragedy unfold, I have questions. Can we condemn a crime without condemning the criminal? When you feel so trapped and law enforcement is no help, can premeditated murder be self-defense? Should a 17-year-old, too immature to vote, join the military, or drink alcohol, be held truly responsible for their actions? Let me know in the comments, and follow or subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of The Truth About True Crime.